afternoon, everyone. My name's Jackie Simpson. I am the tenant rep. For Malham Court Tenants and Residents Committee. Also the chair, alongside Graham Marles, who is our treasurer, and also a tenant rep. Malham Action Group Tenant Residents Committee has been up and running for over 5 years. We have tried to promote community cohesion and make our community a safer and a better place to live in. We have worked alongside Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing, councillors, the police and schools, as well as the youth group, to try and promote community cohesion and provide activities for young people, and also look at the issues which we're facing in our society today. We actually live in a block of flats across here. We have 30 residents, ages from 16 upwards. We have a mixture of tenants, young and old, and these tenants face some conflict sometimes within the block amongst themselves. We do have some tenants that are peaceful, but then we have some tenants that are noisy. But we are trying to work with Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing to try and make the place a better place to live in, like I said. If you look at the flats opposite where we live at Malham Court, the flats opposite, it has a lot of damp. Outside the flats. We will be asking Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing to try and look at the damp outside the flats and in, to try and prevent sickness and infestation inside. We will be speaking to tenants later on to see why they feel the damp has arisen inside. If you look outside all around the flats, we are trying to support our residents on the tenant committee by growing our own vegetables. We have a vegetable plot around the back where we grow various veg, and it is well kept and well looked after by the residents. And also, if you look around the gardens, it is well kept by Beverly, one of our very good tenants, who comes out and sometimes ourselves and plants beautiful flowers. So our tenants have something lovely to look at. We work alongside the youth group, what we've just formed, which is called Blessing the Youth Group at the Focal Community Centre. It was formed by a group of youths and Malham Court Action Group, also the council, who wanted to work alongside us to try and give them a sense of well-being, the youth, and also provide better activities to make them feel safe, make them feel wanted, and keep them out of trouble as well because of the drug and the knife crime that is going on in the community. This is Portia from the Quorum, and Portia's coming along to have a look at our little veg patch and raised bed project which Malham Court did a few years ago alongside Chris, Beverly and Graham.
And I'm eating the produce.
What does it taste like, Portia? Is it nice?
It says I've never eaten nasturtium leaves before, but they are really nice, like buttery and a bit of pepper, but they're nice.
So these are our raised beds, as you can see, which Beverly keeps an eye on, and Graham and a few other tenants come out, and everybody has a little say in it. But we did have to sit on the tenant panel for quite a few years. Every tenants and residents group's entitled to a certain amount of funding for their area. And what they do is they'll speak to the tenants and they'll put a bid forward to Kirklees, and they will vote to see if we are entitled to things that we apply for. Flower trees, apple trees. If you look around, you'll see exactly what Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing has done for us. We have a couple of apple trees growing there, and if you have a look around, a rose tree, If you look on this side over here, John, we have rose trees which have been planted, apple trees on the other side, and that is what we got the funding for. If you come across this side, John, you see also we put in for funding for benches and for this area to be flagged. Kirklees Neighbourhood they actually funded us for this to be flagged so that in summer families can come round and sit with their families, have barbecues and just chill out and unwind after a hard day's work. We have another set of raised beds which has been nicely kept by the tenants. We have thyme which we're growing, and we have a veg plot which we actually put in for funding for. You can't really see much now, but we have potatoes, we have tomatoes, different vegetables, carrots, and is well kept by other people. The only thing that I can ask for is more funding so we can grow a few more things which we'd like to grow. Kirklees Neighbourhood Housing have been very good to us. You can see where the tenants' monies are spent, because every area, if they are voted in, do get different things in different areas. If you look around here outside the flats, have a good look, John. As you can see, it's all mucky. We've never had it to this state before. It doesn't really look very nice. If you look down here at this area, the flooring's worn out. I've come in on a couple of occasions and actually tripped up because it needs sorting out. It could do with levelling off actually. Outside the premises there's all mildew going round the windows. There's damp going round the flats. We couldn't tell you last time we had an estate inspection around all these areas. It's really disgusting. They really need cleaning up. This is Graham Marles from Malham Action Group. We're proud to say he's my partner in crime. We've been on Malham Tenants and Residents Committee for how long now?
It'll be 10 years next year.
10 years. I think we deserve an award.
It started off by a chap who lives up
On fifth floor, Jeff.
Yeah, on the 5th floor.
And Sharon.
Yeah, and I joined in, and we got committed to it. So I opted to go for chair, and I got it. And Jackie was secretary, and that's how we started, really. So once we got together, we were forced to be reckoned with. We went with fists up and tails up and fighting for the tenants' rights and everything. Right. Yeah, and it was really good. Anyway, we've been to lots of meetings and everything, and we joined the Kirklees Federation of Tenants and Residents Associations, and we were on their management committee as directors of the company, voluntary directors of the company. And we had a lot of say in what went on and everything, and spoke about our rights and other people's rights. Been to lots of events and stuff, and yes, we've been involved in lots of things, haven't we? Really,
we have.
It's been great, really. It's been really good. We're still continuing with it now. So, but since Keftra finished and got kicked out by the council, which is typical, we decided to stay as a TRA. So we decided that we wanted to do something for the young people, and we used to see a lot of people hanging around on corners and stuff, on the corners of shops and streets and everything, and getting into trouble and dealing in drugs and stuff like that. So I thought, well, why don't we approach them and find out what they want, pick their conscience. And so we did, and we said, look, if you help us, we can help you. I said, you work with us and we'll work with you. I said, we can do things for you that you can't do for yourselves. So we started up a youth club. And
God blessing the youth group.
Yeah, God blessing the youth group. And that's all going well. Saturday the 1st of December.
Yeah, 4:30 until 8:30.
4:30 till 8:30, that's
PM.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And we meet over at Focal every other Friday, and they get involved in table tennis and pool and art and all sorts of shenanigans, and yeah, and long may it continue. And we're hoping that it's going to expand and the community embraces it.
Can you tell the community about housing side of things, Graham? What do you think the council need to improve on, and what KNH need to improve on when it comes to where we live, our environment?
Yeah, the council needs to improve on, keep. Back in 2011, we had a £2.1 million refurbishment to our block. And all the blocks had the same as well, and completely refurbished the kitchens, fireplaces, and everything. And we've all looked after it, but some blocks haven't. I think the KNH and the council are not using the powers that they've got really to, put the right people in the accommodation. And the police have been decimated, so we don't get the police around here now like we used to. And the housing officers now are not doing estate inspections like they used to and involving us, so it's starting to fall by the wayside a bit. So they need to, keep up with what they should be doing. And also, the government's announced plans to give every council some extra money to build new social housing. And really, we people like us and that, we need to make sure that they're using that money for that and not using it for things that they shouldn't be using it for.
Sometimes we're here, we come from work at certain times in the evening after doing a long 14-hour shift. That we have young people that they have moved in now that play the music loud, have the drug dealers in and out of the flats. Where I live, there's a lot of things going on which I can't really disclose for my own safety, but there needs to be a stop put to it practically. Something needs to be done. We pay our rent and we deserve the right treatment. We deserve to be safe in our environment. We deserve to be supported with the proper services from KNH, and also we deserve for KNH to have a better understanding of our condition and our situations as well. Because I've just had an operation, I've just come out of hospital, to come home to a noisy neighbour, not being able to come out of my front door to put my rubbish out. I don't feel safe. I'm supposed to feel safe in my environment and where I live. Not just me, but other tenants as well. So come on, get your finger out, start talking to your tenants, not just me, but everyone else in the community, and let's work together and see what we can do.
The collective will of the tenants associations and that, we can do a lot of positive things, like we've got a new, the new veg patch and everything that we got through funding from, because the rents, because the rents go to the council and some of that money comes back into us for things like that. So the collective will of the tenants associations and everything, we can make a lot of good things happen, positive things. So that should continue, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and KNH are working with us in the youth group to try and help us on the funding side of things, to keep the group going, which we do appreciate, and they have been working alongside us to try and see what issues do arise in our community to try and make the place a better place to live in. But all we're asking for is for you to listen to the tenants, do your surveys, find a way or a new strategy of reaching out to people in your community to try and prevent the gun and knife crime, the drugs, and better services for our tenants. Also, more housing. This is Chris, and Chris is one of our good tenants, and he's been he was on board with the Tenant and Residents Committee, and I feel he still is really. He has done some great work on planning, on the tenant-led budget for different things which we have achieved on the garden side of things. He did a beautiful plan on the layout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Of the gardens, and that was never talked about, but I mean, I will talk about it because I couldn't have done it better myself. But I do feel that Chris played a big part in helping to keep the tenant committee going. So I'd just like to ask Chris a few questions on what Chris feels we need to improve in our area and what K&H can do for us. So Chris, let's go for it. What do you think we need to improve on in our area?
There's lots of things we can. Well, there's no facilities really. There's very little facilities for children, or even adults. Yes, they've got the centre over there, but it doesn't get that. It has funding from somewhere else, but there's no. There used to be like a hall there. There's nothing there at all. Yes, we've got the park and everything else like that, but if you look at, the look of the area, this block of flats, it needs a damn good clean-up. Number one.
I totally agree. It's a mess.
I mean, it is actually disgraceful. We've got a fence that's falling down. How long that will take to repair, I don't know. I mean, it's still quite a nice area, but they can improve that. But I did put in a plan for a refurbishment of the outside of this building, which was quite a lot of money, yes, but they didn't give time to actually give a presentation. That's one of the reasons why I thought, well, I'm wasting my time a little bit, because we're having new fencing around it, a proper bin store, new paving in the front, some more flower beds, which would improve this for the tenants, and it would have made the area look better for people to want to live here. So yes, I think they fall down onto small things. Well, to me, the small things. Clean the block of flats once a year, but they never touch anything. And to my mind, they don't address that there's not enough support for tenants either.
What kind of issues have you come across that you could say K&H could improve on?
I mean, we have tenants that have learning difficulties. We have all sorts of health issues. I never see, apart from one person, any support workers coming to visit people, and to me, they just get left here. They do in other places, I know, but there doesn't seem to be a support from K&H. I know I've seen the remarks about K&H's 2 years of successful partnership with building services. They're not bad on repairs. If you ring up for repair, they will come and do it. But how long is that fence going to be like that? Another thing is, it's not just, I will comment on something else, it's not just the K&H properties for tenants. That it's been proven that the building services that have taken over with council buildings, they're failing miserably, and how they got an award, I don't know. But on this side, to me, it's lacking in facilities. I mean, I'm volunteering now for the library service.
Very good. Proud to say it's from our area. How do you feel about the library shutting down? Because they wanted to shut it down. How far are we with that now?
Well, at the moment, there's no plans. So I've been involved with that. I've been involved with the review of the services which has just taken place. There are no plans to close wholesale libraries. They're looking at how they can improve things, information centre for other services, and we've been told there'll be no more voluntary. There'll be no redundancies apart from voluntary. There'll be no library closures, but there will be some looking at other sources. But then Birkby Library is shutting, which is another area. So rather than talk about, Birkby is a classic thing of they've got no facilities for anything now. But for now, it seems that library service is safe in Lindley, which is a vital part of the community. But how many people from this end of the ward get involved? We go up to the library, even, which has lots of things on as well. So yes, I think the area is lacking in lots of things. It's not just the young either, it's the elderly and everybody else. I mean, they can't travel far, but there's nothing here.
What do you think about the young and the elderly mixing in our block? How do you think that's going, Chris, at the moment?
Overall, I think it's going very well. The young man there is a brilliant lad. I see him now and again. Yes, we've had problems with one or two, and that's K&H's fault. Partly their fault. They do nothing. If a complaint's made, we've got one tenant who's not been as bad as he was, but they seem to say they go see him once and then he just carries on what he wants to do. He should have support, quite frankly, but K&H don't make sure, and this is not just this block of flats, it's in my experience, being on the other, like the community who can board and everything else, this is around the whole of Kirklees, and K&H are very bad at supporting their tenants and getting rid of or sanctioning or even doing anything about bad tenants. Their record to me on the safety of tenants themselves and antisocial behaviour is absolutely shocking.
So practically K&H, we need to be doing something about the antisocial behaviour. We need to be working more with our tenants and providing a better service. We need a good clean-up of our estate. Like Chris has said, we need more estate inspections, and you need to be working more with the tenants and not away from the tenants. Chris, is there any skills that you have to offer? I know you are a qualified teacher.
Well, I am.
I know that you're very good at what you do, because my daughter's told me that. She got good grades in your class. That's not just why I'm saying that, but I do feel that Chris has the skills that he could offer to people in the community. We have a folk community centre where we could use as an after-school kind of learning facility. It is a big room. If we have, the funding for that, Chris has the skills which he could use and provide the courses for children 16 upwards and adults. So I don't see why the centre can't be used for that reason. We have funding out there. Councillors, let's use the funding and put it where the great skills are, because Chris is a very well-skilled person. I am a mental health officer. I have counselling skills. Use us, the people you have in your community, so we can help these people with mental health issues or disability issues or who are lacking, certain skills, so that they can get better jobs in the future. Use us. We're here to be used. I do feel that we need some kind of counselling in the centre for these people that are out there with these issues, where they feel safe and they can come along to myself or Chris, who has the skills, other people in our block who are lecturers. For crying out loud, we have lecturers in our block. I feel that they do need to be providing more things in our community centre what is suited for the people in our community.
I mean, I do it because, number one, I like helping people, and number two, because for me, it's a social life, quite frankly, as well. And I meet lots of people. But they just raised the question of repairs. Well, this is something I preached on earlier on about antisocial behaviour, and the number of tenants that K&H have got who constantly wreck their property, their own properties, and their hallways and everything else, and it's the same people, and they're still allowed to live there.
I'm a mental health officer, qualified. I have seen a lot of children come to the youth group who have issues, who don't wish to go to an institution as such to talk about those issues and have told me things in confidence, and they do need that support. We have tenants with mental health issues and they need to be using some kind of strategy and put something in place so that these people have the support that they need.